What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing tonight? I'm actually in the middle of driving right now. Decided to it's a little quiet out on the road. It's still that summer slowdown, couple more weeks, and it's going to be pretty much done with, so I'm happy about that. At least fingers crossed, I'm hoping once schools start and gets in sessions, whether it's college or high school, elementary, all that good stuff. Hopefully it'll start picking up. What's up, OC Rideshare? How's it going? So today we're going to be talking about should you drive items instead of people? So there's a couple of different scenarios here. First off, we'll kind of go through them, and then I've pulled a few people who are drivers on some Facebook pages to see what they respond to, and then what anybody else thinks who's watching this as well. So if you're in the live stream, you can comment live. If you're watching the replay, you can comment down below. But yeah, let's talk about if Uber and Lyft are also moving companies. So there's two real different types of moving items that we'll talk about. The first one is, say, when somebody picks up, goes to like Best Buy and takes a TV and buys it and then realizes they can't fit it in the car. So they call a Uber or Lyft and order it, and then have them take their items or belongings from the store to their home or wherever it's going to. So that's one way of moving items that has been in Uber and Lyft. And I'm not talking about the grocery store. So if you pick up people at, say, Walmart or your local grocery store, whatever it might be, and they're just coming in with bags and taking themselves, that's a different thing. I'm talking about actual items where they're not going in the car with you. They're just filling up your car with stuff and then unloading it at the drop-off point. And then the second scenario is really when people are moving like apartment to apartment or dorm room to apartment or vice versa, or house to house, whatever it might be. So they'll order Uber and Lyfts and have them come take their stuff, whether they're there in the ride or not. So it's just filling up a bunch of stuff. So here's a question that I pose to all of you. Do you accept those rides or do you deny them? There's, what's up, nephew? Yeah, there's a few different scenarios that you could do. What's up, Dylan? Yeah, deny. All right, there's a few different ways you can handle this. First off, a bike address. Wow. Is that what you had to take, Robert? That's a lot. First of all, let's start off. If you drive UberX or Lyft regular, chances are you probably won't have people trying to jam-pack stuff in your car to move from location to location, whether it even be from the store to their location. They could be... Doesn't help that you drive a Ram 1500. Yeah, that can be a issue if people are trying to move there. But yeah, here's the big thing. Most in UberX probably not going to get that too often or as often as trying to order an XL, just because the size of the vehicle is going to be much different. So if you drive an XL, you're probably a little bit more prone to this, only because if you order an X, you don't know who you're going to get. Maybe with an Uber Comfort, but still you could get a Toyota Corolla, a just newer vehicle. So there's a few different things right there. Yes, Grant Thompson. Absolutely. I don't know. Do you watch him too, Dylan? But yeah, he's... so I guess side note, we'll bring this up right now. RIP to Grant Thompson. He was an inspiration to me for starting a YouTube channel. He has a very successful YouTube channel called The King of Random. Very cool guy. He's 38 or 39, ended up passing away last night. It's very unfortunate, again, very young. And like I said, he was an inspiration to the reason why I started a YouTube channel, and I just watched his stuff. for many years. Great guy, great channel. So if you guys ever want to watch that, it has nothing to do with rideshare. It's got everything to do with like science experiments and building stuff and you know, diving into how things work, and it's a pretty cool channel. But yeah, it's unfortunate that he passed away. The channel has, though, evolved into having different hosts and editors and a whole system, so the channel will probably go on. But yeah, it's a very unfortunate thing for sure. So that's very sad to say, because like I said, he was somebody that inspired me to do this channel, just share my experiences, share my thoughts, involve other people as well too. So hey Robert, have a good night. Gotta go. All right, have a good night, but thanks for stopping by. But yeah, so just wanted to say that some of you may have seen my community post earlier about that. But yeah, it was a very sad and unfortunate thing. But unfortunately, that does happen. So yeah, hopefully, like I said, my condolences to family, friends, the whole cast and crew of the King of Random channel, and then all of the fans that he's amassed over the years. I think he's got something like 11.5 million subs right now, so very big channel, very well known in the YouTube world. Even if you haven't watched his stuff or is familiar with the King of Random, it probably has popped up in your feed somewhere, somehow at one point, and maybe you even did click on a video and maybe not realized it was that channel. But he did a lot of cool stuff, so condolences to everybody that is affected by him on a much more personal level. But we'll go back to what we were talking about. So thanks, Dylan, for bringing that up, because I did want to mention that and it did slip my mind. But yeah, let's go back to that about moving. So yes, with XLs, you're probably going to see this much more often than X's, just because you don't necessarily know if the ride's going to be a large ride or not when you get an X. It could be like my vehicle, which is a Jeep Grand Cherokee and can haul a lot of stuff, or it could be a vehicle, like I said, that's very small, like a Toyota Corolla, Honda Civic, or like a four-door. So these things are not going to be necessarily good for larger items like big screen TVs if you're going from the store to the home, or if you're trying to transport stuff from place to place. So one of the big things is I wanted to get other people's opinions on this, because I want to share what I've come across and what Uber and Lyft stances are, and you know, kind of what you guys think as well, and then share my opinions. So first and foremost, I did pull a couple of Facebook places that I am part of within the rideshare community to get their input to see what they would do. First off, most of the people who voted on these said they would deny the ride, and that's cool. That's your choice. Uber and Lyft is designed to transport passengers and not stuff. Plus, there's a few liability issues, and it can be unsafe to transport stuff if you ever were to get into an accident. And then also things like damages during the ride with liability issues, the whole unloading and loading times that can slow you down, because if they're trying to jam pack your vehicle with stuff, that can really slow down on times. And then the whole question is, do you unload or unload as well when it comes to these things, if you decide to accept the ride or accept that ride? So most of the rides, like I said, when I pulled, I would say about 3/4 of people said that they will not take that type of ride. They will deny it. And then about 1/4 of people said that they will accept it. Chad, no longer too loud, transport big stuff. 2 times they damaged the car. Yep. And that is a problem. So that's part of the liability issue that you have when loading and unloading stuff. So the question is, what do you do? And like I said, about 3/4 of the people said they'll deny the ride. About 1/4 of the people said that they'll accept it and take it, but there's conditions. So that was a lot of the comments that I saw too, was there'll be conditions where they'll say, you know, they'll do it, but time is money. If they want to do extras, like where they have the driver load and unload, it'll cost them money. They'll take tips up front, cash tips up front, nothing through the app or anything that way, just because of the whole money issue, where they'll say, I'll tip you on the app, and then, you know, you get nothing, or you get like a really joke of an amount tip, like 57 cents, just kind of like spit in your face type thing. So yeah, there's quite a few things on this. So Uber and Lyft's policies, there's none on it. So it, again, like I said, is designed to transport passengers and people and not stuff. That's what moving companies are for, but people are trying to cheap out and use things like Uber and Lyft. It's the same thing with trying to use Uber and Lyft to go to the hospital if you have an emergency situation instead of calling 911 and getting an ambulance. You know, those are things that you probably shouldn't be doing and chincing out on being cheap about. Same thing with moving. Again, like I said, liability issues is a big thing here. The tip me in the app. Yes, I've heard that from many drivers. I've experienced that as well too. When I first started driving, I think it was like once or twice, and I'm like, you can't tip through the app. So that, like, I knew right away. But yeah, when you're doing stuff like that, when it's a whole different type of ride and you want to take it, you know, you can set more conditions. Again, this is going a little outside the boundaries of Uber and Lyft. And also when it comes to, you know, if you get into a car accident and there's things that are in your car, you know, it's not like people can sit in a seatbelt that's buckled and be safe and protected. No, these are things that are going to be in your car that could be projectiles and, you know, fly out the car window or hit you or anything like that. So there's definitely certain things. What's up, David? How's it going? Yeah, there's certain things that you got to really pay attention to when you're doing this. And again, I don't know the insurance liabilities if there was anything that happened on the ride. I don't know if it'll cover the same way because it's transporting stuff instead of people. Insurance companies are very sneaky and very snaky in what they do. So I don't really know, but like I said, there's no policy within Uber or Lyft that says you can or can't accept rides. Their official stance says it's up to the driver. And a lot of articles I also looked up, it's up to the driver and what they want to do. So the question I have for you guys is, do you accept these rides or would you deny them? A couple of people said deny already. And a couple of people said that they won't do it anymore. Which, hey, that's up to you as a driver. It's your choice. It's your call. Personally, what I would do, I'm not going to do it. There's too much liability, too much possibility of getting damage to my vehicle, and especially the loading and unloading times where you don't necessarily get paid. So if I come up to a house or an apartment or whatever it might be, Richard, deny, yep. If I come up to a house or an apartment or whatever it is, and I see stuff that's ready to go, I might talk to them real quick first, see what's going on. And if not, then I'm probably going to cancel. But there's always a chance. I don't want to say 100% that I would cancel or deny it, only because sometimes if you talk to them, you can figure out certain things and kind of see if it's going to be worth your while or not. But again, when it comes to if you don't want your car damaged, that's probably you putting in stuff and taking it out. And I know there's a lot of people who commented on the Facebook side of things that they wouldn't unload and load. But there, in that case, you do pose a risk of people damaging your car. And when you're putting in larger stuff, that's kind of awkward. It could damage your car. It has a greater chance of damaging your car at any point during the ride, from the moment they load it to the moment it comes out. So there's quite a few things there. What do I think about the rideshare sign by occupying? Which sign are you talking about? Rideshare source driver, I'm not sure. I know there's a bunch of different. Are you talking about like the signs that you post that'll say like no drinking, no food, and like the little signs you can buy on Amazon? Is that what you're talking about? I'm not quite sure. Or the signs that you can make as well that mimic what you can buy on Amazon. If that's what you mean, let me know, because I'm not sure exactly if that's what you're hinting at, but if it is, you know, it's your car, it's your rules, essentially. So if you want to post something that has your rules, you can do that. I've actually been toying with the idea of, you know, when I start the ride, I'll ask who they are or who they're looking for. Usually what I try to do is when I start the ride, I ask them what's their name, and then I'll usually, once they give me their name, because even when I say who are you looking for, they'll say their name, so I'll just ask that, because normally when they get in, I say, hey, I'm Chris, and like I said, just make that a little bit more personal. And I've been toying with the idea of saying, hey, my name is Chris, so I got a couple of rules in the car. There's no food, no drink. You know, I do have charging port if you need it. Just like a couple of the ground rules, I guess you could say. Like I said, I've been toying with it in my mind. Haven't implemented it in any way. So that's why I'm kind of like going off part of what I thought about and coming up with the whole. But yeah, no food, no drink. And then, you know, during that time at the very end, I'd probably, like when I start the ride, I'd say, are you going to this location, just to verify, and then say, okay, you know, it looks like it's about 12 minutes away, or 18 minutes, or 4 minutes, or whatever it might be. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. So something like that where, you know, you can say the rules right away. A lot of different things. I mean, obviously certain rides you're going to say rules before they even get in the car, and that's going to be like if you see them with alcohol, if you see them, you know, smoking and trying to come in the car with a cigarette, and you don't want smoking in your car. You know, a whole host of different things where you can actually stop them before they get in the car. Those are a few things that you can do. But yeah, I mean, with the signs, I'm not sure. Just to have a sign saying by occupant. I mean, what kind of recourse do you actually have when you do that? I mean, sometimes people aren't even going to pay attention to the signs. I have signs that say that my car is recording with my camera, and consent is given when entering the vehicle. That one, I think, has a little bit more bearing, only because you know, in New York State, it's a one-party consent, so I only have to consent. I don't even have to have the signs. I just do it for letting people know, more as a deterrent versus anything else. So a lot of people don't even realize that you have a dash cam, because I don't have the screen illuminated while I'm driving, especially at night, just as a distractionary thing. So I have those notice signs in the car just to let people know, and like I say, it's more of a deterrent. But when you're driving, a lot of people probably don't even look at signs, and if they do, they don't really pay attention to it. So I'm not sure how that might work if that's the case. Not to have rules on the sign, make it clear, but yeah, I mean, you could do that. You might want to put that on the windows on the outside or something. But yeah, I'm not, you know, that's something I'd have to sit and think about for a little bit. But off the top of my head, I really don't think that would have anything, any bearing, only because what would they lose if they broke a rule, besides the fact of probably getting kicked out, which would happen whether you have the sign or not. So if you have like a no food policy and they're like, oh, okay, cool, and then they start eating mid-ride, you know, you're in full rights to pull over and cancel on them. But yeah, I'm not with a sign that says something like that. I mean, you'd have to somehow give the rules out as well too, by either verbally announcing them or having them on that same sign. But personally, I don't know. I mean, you could put it in a sign and have it there. That's up to you. I mean, like I said, I know drivers who have the little signs on the back of the headrests that'll say like, please rate 5 stars if you enjoyed this service. You know, charging cords are available, no food, no water, no smoking, things like that. So they do have the signs there. How effective they are, maybe a little bit. Uber Freight, yes. Uber Freight is something that is for moving and large items. The only problem with it is that if you're transporting enough stuff that will fill a vehicle or a couple vehicles versus, you know, wanting to order a freight itself. But the thing I don't understand is you could go to a local U-Haul place and rent a U-Haul for 20 bucks and then drive per mileage. And most U-Haul places are very close. And that way it's going to have a lot more safety there. You load the vehicle. If the stuff, or if you ever get into an accident, the stuff stays in the cab or in the back cab there. Or I mean, I'm sorry, in the trailer part there, where it's not going to come out unless there's some kind of breach to that area itself. But yeah, I mean, U-Haul is a great service that you can drive as quick and as slow as you want. It doesn't matter. Drove a box before. You drove a box before? Yeah. What was it, like a TV box? 3 years ago, I drove a few times, stupidly more riders than belts. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's done that when starting off. I've taken rides that were, you know, 5 or 6 people in my car, not knowing, when I first started off as well too. And then, you know, I really kind of dove into the TOS because I'm like, this doesn't seem right. So I had to do my due diligence and actually dive into the TOS and see what it's all about. But yeah, that's at the point once I really started looking into it and seeing what the rules really were, and then looking how things work, how liability is and all that stuff. That's when I said, I'm not going to take that issue. So if I see more than 4, guess what? Either you're going to fit 4 in here, or you're going to cancel the ride and go on, go get an XL, order a second ride, whatever it might be. Most of the time, I'll take the ride if they agree to it, no problem. A lot of people I know will say, oh no, you should cancel the ride. I've made videos on it before, and people are like, no, you should cancel the ride because you're going to get a bad rating. Guess what? I'd rather make the $8.95 instead of canceling and get $3.65 or whatever the hell the cancellation fee is, or the $5 sometimes. I'd rather do that because usually I can turn the ride around and get a tip and a good rating. And here's a newsflash for a lot of people out there who say you should pay attention to your rating. Guess what? I don't care if I get a bad rating because on Lyft, it's the past 100 rides. So one bad rating is not going to affect me. Also, the lowest rating gets deleted. So if you get a bad rating out of 100 rides, that lowest one just disappears. So I don't really care. Also, if you both rate negatively, I believe they cancel each other out at a certain rate. Or I believe if both are under 3 stars, they cancel each other out. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know if both are rated low, they cancel each other out. And if a rider doesn't rate you, it's automatic 5 stars. Most people don't rate, so I'm okay with that. So one bad rating for Lyft Inc. is not a big deal. Same thing with Uber, because it takes your past 500 rides. So if you get a 1-star rating from somebody, who cares? In the grand scheme of thing, it means nothing. So that's my little rant on that. But yeah, I mean, everybody's kind of done that, where I believe that they've taken more rides or more riders than what's allowed in the car. Oh, casket to load. Ooh, that would, I'm going to say that's actually illegal to do. I believe that there's laws in place that do not allow the transportation of deceased people like that unless it's in a certified transportational vehicle, which it would be a what you call it, a hearse, or something that is designed for transporting the deceased. I believe that's the case in every state, but I don't know. But yeah, that would be pretty crazy, having a casket to load. That would be, I'd be like, hell to the no. Had to be less than 2 or 3 pounds. Drove a box before. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, if you're not a XL Uber, it won't adjust. If it's low, or if you are an XL vehicle, which does happen, they will adjust. They can give you trouble to do it, so that can be a little bit difficult. But as long as you have dash cam footage and you have everything, they can, it's going to be much harder for them to try to deny you that. But it does happen where they will deny it. You have 5 seatbelts. Yeah, most cars do. Mine does too. They denied you. That sucks, man. They don't do it anymore. Yeah, I didn't think they did. I knew they used to. They've changed a lot of stupid policies recently, and that's one of them. Never allow more people in the car when you had seatbelts. Yeah, no, that's smart, Chad. Yeah, like I said, I mean, most people probably have, because they don't understand the rules still stay the same. And they don't, I mean, Uber and Lyft do not communicate very effectively at all when it comes to things like that and the rules. I mean, you put it in TOS, which is pages and pages and pages that most people just skim over or don't really read, so they don't pay attention to it very often, and don't understand the rules. So that's why a lot of drivers resort to YouTube, resort to forums, resort to Facebook pages and stuff like that to actually get the rules. And that's the same thing with like car seats with children. A lot of people might not realize that car seats are necessary and needed for children, even though sometimes in taxis there's exemptions from that. But it really depends, and you really got to read the laws carefully. But child seats fall under that rule because it's a personal vehicle. So all personal laws still stay in effect. So that's like alcohol in a car, child seats, all that stuff, more passengers than what's allowed. Yeah. Especially if the casket is a 2-seater. Uh-oh, you might want to watch out. The question is it empty when you get it? That's the question. Or is it filled? Either way, you don't want that in your car. That's why you don't do it anymore. Gotcha. Pretty sure when I was transporting a box. Yeah, Vegas is much more different. The only thing that you got to watch out for is restrictions on size. So I'm not sure how Vegas is, but I know certain areas you can only have a certain amount on you, and once you get over that amount, then that's considered a crime, I guess, again, which doesn't make any sense to me, because if you add 100 pounds where it's legal, what does it matter if you're going to smoke it or not? Which app is better, Uber or Lyft? Are you talking about passenger side or driver side? And personally, it's going to be up to you on both. For me, Uber and Lyft are pretty much the exact same, except for some minor differences that, there's pros and cons on both, but they pretty much equal each other out, in my opinion, on both sides, whether it's the driver app or the passenger app. Do I notice a difference in the passengers or the drivers, depending on the platform I'm on, and if I'm using the service as a rider or I'm the one who's driving? I really haven't noticed too much of a difference there. And yeah, like I say, it's up to you, what you think, what you feel, the ease. To me, it's real similar. So yeah, I mean, on the passenger side of things, it doesn't matter to me. On the driver side of things, I take more Ubers. I have probably about twice as much Uber rides that I do of of Lyft. But Lyft you get paid more on, at least in my area. So yeah, it kind of depends on the situation. But yeah, both apps, try them out. Whatever you like best, that's what you go with. Had a male Uber user who showed shorts, flip-flops, smoking. Wait, you had a male Uber user and he showed shorts and flip-flops only. Smoking cigarette, walking, and the ride was for her, probably. It could be, yeah, it very well could be. Unfortunately, college campuses have a lot of problems, so they take security, especially for females, very seriously in any event. So it could be an escort. I couldn't tell you. Usually, though, they would order for themselves. So like the girl would order for herself, unless she didn't have the app or some situation may have happened. I don't know. I'm just speculating there. But yeah, that is a serious problem that many college campuses do take very seriously. So they definitely do that. All right. Yeah, so I don't have much more to say. If you guys got anything real quick to talk about or question or ask more of, speak now or forever hold your peace on this live stream. We'll probably be, I'll be doing more live streams, obviously. It's fun, enjoyable. And I actually have a lot of different topics where I believe that it's great to talk to everybody and get their opinion. Kind of like this episode, I guess, tonight, where do you want to take rides that are for transportation purposes of items versus actual people themselves, and some of the liabilities behind it. But yes, going back to that is up to you guys, whatever you decide to do. If you want to take a ride that is just stuff to and from a location, just bear in mind that you're going to have loading and unloading times. You could face damage to your vehicle from the moment something goes in your car to the moment it goes out, and you have a greater chance of that happening during those types of rides. Certain items might not fit, and then just the possibility of stuff moving around if in the event something happens. So just weigh those options while if you're thinking about accepting the ride. But if you just deny it, then you don't have to really worry about that stuff. But just want to make sure people are safe out there. Or imagine somebody with 3 dogs for Uber. I don't believe you can do that. The only thing you have to do is service dog, and service dog, it's usually 1. Nobody has 3 service dogs. So in that case, you probably could get away with not taking that ride. But you got to watch out with the service animals. And that'll bring me to a point too, where I'll make real quick with service animals. You do have to take them, whether you are allergic to or not. It's part of the law. So if a person has a service animal, you cannot deny them based on the service animal at all. You have to kind of suck it up. One of the things is you should always carry a blanket just in case. But the good thing is about service animals that they are highly trained animals. For the most part, some service animals are not necessarily as trained, but for the most part, like I said, they are trained, and so they're going to just hang out in the car. They should not be damaging in any way, like by peeing or anything. But yeah, usually it's not too bad of a ride if it's a few minutes. Even now, when it comes to dogs, I'll transport animals. It doesn't really affect me. I like animals, but that's me. Whether they're service animals or not, that's just up to me. That's my decision. Like I said, just carry a blanket. I drape it over. If there's any shedding or anything, I'll just take it to the local gas station, get the vacuum out, and just vacuum up the remaining hair or whatever. But again, that's my decision as me of a driver. Everybody else can have their own opinions and thoughts of what they want to do there. But yeah. Yeah, okay, with that brings up a good point, Rideshare Source Driver, when it comes to how line pool riders would react if the secondary pickup or even the ride that they were coming already has a service animal in it, or like I said, the secondary has a service animal. Still can't deny the ride. They can't, I mean, even if they're allergic to it, can't deny it. So it doesn't really matter. It's out of their control when it comes to it. So it's going to be this, like, the service animal takes precedent. That's just what it is. So yeah, if you're in pool or with lifts express, then yeah, it's going to be the dog or service animal gets precedent, so they get in the car. There's no problem. So if that other passenger, whether they're the first passenger in the car or they're getting picked up, it doesn't matter. They have to be in the ride as well. So even if they're allergic to it or whatnot, they have to take it. Now, when you're probably going to be rated poor on that, but usually the rating will not actually go to you or affect your rating because of that. If you see a bad rating and figure it out that it was that passenger who didn't have the service animal, you could probably fight that and get that removed from both Uber and Lyft. Don't quote me, I'm not 100% sure. Beautiful thing is I don't have pool or express in my area. It's fantastic, and I'm very happy for that. Even though you can make some money doing it, it's just, you got to play it the right way. But that is a good point that you brought up. But yeah, the service animal does take precedence over any of the passengers in the car, including the driver as well too. But anything else, guys? Whether it be service animal, moving things, whatever it might be. Yep, they do. Lyft does remove that. Uber does too in certain circumstances, especially when it comes to something that's really out of your control, like taking a service animal where that other person might be allergic to them in some way, somehow, or just doesn't want to be around that. But that's kind of too bad in terms of the law and like equal rights when it comes to that stuff. So they're very, ooh, that guy's got the high beams on, kind of hurting the eyes. I'm actually, like I said, I'm in mid-shift right now. Turned off the app, so I'm not getting rides, don't worry. But yeah, I turned them off, hanging out with you guys, talking a little bit, be going on right after I get off with you guys again. It's been quiet though, so hopefully I'll get a couple more rides. We'll see. All right, anything else though? Last minute, if nobody else has anything more to say, we're gonna end this tonight's live stream. You don't like when people come out of seafood restaurants smell strong. Yes, that's a problem. I actually just had somebody that I picked up who works at a chicken wing place, because, well, Buffalo's known for its wings. So I'm not going to say the actual place because I do like going there. But when you're working by those fryers all night long, you get a nice smell of grease and chicken wing. And I had that a little bit ago. Needless to say, right when he left the car, the Febreze bottle got out and the windows went down, and then kept that going for a little while before I closed the windows and had the air back on again. Yeah, that sucks for sure. But yeah, if you do that, where you just take a couple sprays of Febreze, roll down the windows, let it air out, it's much better. Definitely, for sure. All right. Yes, chat, have a great night. Everybody else watching, have a great night. Lastly, if you guys are still watching, and this is pertaining to the people who are not on the live stream, make sure to comment below on if you would accept or deny any moving items versus the people itself or passengers, and comment on the reasons why you choose that. What's up, Eric? Elmont, cool. Not too far. I'm not even sure where that is. Actually, I mean, New York is pretty good, or a pretty big size state. So we are just wrapping up though. But what's up, Eric? Yeah, other than, oh, Long Island. Okay. Been there many a times to Long Island. Very nice area. Mostly in Patchogue, Riverhead, parts of Long Beach as well. That's where I usually was when I was in Long Island. Sometimes Quogue and East Hampton, or no, West Hampton, I'm sorry. Okay, Belmont Racetrack. Okay, I know where that is. Haven't really been around that area, but what's up? About 7-hour drive from here. So I'm on the other side of the state. But yeah. All right, guys, with that being said, though, yeah, I'm gonna end this now. Happy hanging out with you guys. So it was cool. We'll see you next time. And as always, never drink and drive, always tip your drivers, and we'll see you next time.